Let me ask you something. Think about the biggest turning point in your life. The thing that changed the direction of everything. The relationship, the decision, the moment, the conversation. Now, ask yourself, did you know it was happening when it happened? Probably not. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. The moments that change your life don't come with a warning. No bell, no countdown, no sigh floating above it that says, this is the one. They just show up, looking completely ordinary, looking like everything else on that Tuesday afternoon. A phone call, a new routine you almost didn't start, a seat next to someone at an event you nearly skipped, one sentence from a podcast, a stranger, a book that just happened to land on the exact day you needed it. That's how life actually works. Not in dramatic announcements, in quiet arrivals. We've been conditioned to wait for the big moment, the obvious sigh, the thing that feels unmistakably significant while it's still happening. We expect important moments to feel important in real time. We expect the beginning of something great to look like a beginning. We want it to match the size of what's about to become. But most of the time, it doesn't. In real time, it just feels like a regular day, a regular conversation, a regular decision. And it's only later, weeks later, months later, sometimes years later, that you look back and go, oh, that was it. That was the door. I almost walked past it. Think about how many people can trace their entire career back to one introduction they almost missed. One mentor who showed up looking like just another person in the room. One idea they scribbled out and almost threw away. Think about how many relationships, friendships, partnerships, love stories started with something so small, so unremarkable that neither person involved could have guessed what it would become. That's not luck. That's just how transformation tends to arrive. Quietly, without credentials, without a trumpet. So if the big moments don't look big, why do we keep missing them? Because we're watching the wrong channel. We're looking for something that matches the scale of what we're hoping for. We're waiting for a sign that's the same size as the dream. And so the quiet, small, unimpressive looking version of what could change everything, it slips right past us. The person who didn't seem exciting at first. The idea that felt too simple to be worth anything. The opportunity that looked like extra work before it looked like a breakthrough. The invitation you nearly declined because it didn't feel worth the drive. We filter out so much of life because it doesn't arrive with enough fanfare. And I think that's one of the most quietly costly habits a person can have. Not just in what you miss, but in what it does to how you move through the world. When you're always waiting for the obvious sign, you start sleepwalking through the small ones. You stop paying attention to the texture of ordinary moments. You start moving fast through the very moments that may have been worth slowing down for. Here's what I want you to understand about timing. Life doesn't work in previews. It doesn't give you a trailer for what's coming. It lets the moment enter quietly and then gives you time. Sometimes a lot of time to understand what it actually brought with it. Which means the awareness has to come first before you know what something is, before you know if it matters, before you have any evidence that is worth paying attention to. That's the actual skill, not spotting the big thing once it's obvious. Anyone can do that. The skill is staying open enough, present enough, to notice the thing that doesn't have a name yet, the thing that hasn't revealed what it is. That requires a different kind of attention that most of us practice. It's not vigilance. It's not anxiety. It's more like curiosity, a willingness to be surprised, a posture that says, I don't know which of these moments matters most, so I'm going to show up for all of them like they made. So here's what I want to leave you with this week. Don't diminish the small things just because they showed up small. Don't write people off because they didn't walk in looking important. Don't let the quiet version of something great slip past you because you were waiting for the loud version. Stay a little more open than usual this week to the conversation that feels casual, to the detour, to the thing you almost skipped, to the idea that showed up without much force behind it. One of those things may not be small at all. It may not just have announced itself yet. And when you look back on this season of your life, you want to recognize the door, not just after you've walked through it, but maybe, just maybe, while you're still standing in front of it. That's it for today. Share this with someone who's in a season where they need to stay open. And remember, becoming limitless means learning to recognize greatness before it introduces itself. Until next time, thank you.